Let me know when we're rolling. Oh, my bad. Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 minutes more or less ship review, we are looking at the Drake Caterpillar. Do you want to show them? You want to turn the camera? Show them. That's great. So looking at the Drake Caterpillar over here, you can look back at me. Sorry. Okay. We're gonna see what it looks like. Awesome. All right, welcome back to another review, and thank you to everybody that joined me today manning the turrets and making this ship feel alive. I appreciate every one of you greatly. Thank you for being awesome. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Drake Caterpillar. Quite the awesome looking ship if you ask me. It is $330 if you're to buy it on the Pledge Store, or if you buy it in game, it is $12,474,000 aUEC. Now, if you were for some reason to have a catastrophic failure and get destroyed, you do have an 18-minute and 37-second claim time, or if you expedite that, that is 6 minutes and 12 seconds. Definitely not terrible for what this ship can do for you. So let's talk about that. What can this ship do for you? You can do package deliveries, you can do heavy freight, you can deliver vehicles, you can deliver all sorts of things, and you even have guns on this ship. So if you man those turrets, you could potentially go out there and do some minor PvE bounties, but I wouldn't say this is the ship to do that with. The pilot does have 2,460 burst damage per second due to the 2 size 3 M5A laser cannons and the 2 size 3 CF337 Panthers, which is definitely not terrible coming from the pilot. Now, one thing Drake doesn't usually skimp out on is the missile payload, but with this ship, you don't have any, so that is something you have to keep an eye on. No missiles, no dumbfire rockets, nothing of the sort. Now, you do have 2 manned turrets, one at the top front and one on the bottom rear, that give you a total of 3,272 burst damage per second due to them being 4 size 4 CF447 Rhinos. Definitely a good amount of damage output if you're getting attacked by some sort of fighter or something out there. Hopefully those turrets will be able to give you the best angle and take them out of the sky. Now, you also have 2 remote tractor beam turret spots allowing you to help, hopefully help loading cargo into this ship, but it's still a harder ship to load, especially with manual loading. With automatic loading, obviously there's no issue there. You just got to pay a price and wait. But otherwise, this ship does have 3 size 3 shield generators, giving you a total of 190,200 quadrant shield, which is honestly awesome for what this ship is, a cargo hauling ship. That is a fantastic amount of shield generation. Now, if we're talking about the health pool, which again, someday will disappear, but until then, you do have one, and you have 92,700 ship HP, which, if you're asking me, looking at the shield strength, I wish this ship was just a tad bit over 100,000 ship HP. So for me, that feels a little low, but it's definitely not bad. It's not bad at all. For the size of ship, for what it does, 92,000, you're going to be in the air for quite a while you're getting attacked, long enough to hopefully get out of there by jumping, because you definitely don't have ship speed on your side. Looking at 130 SCM with a 300 forward boost, a 120 backwards boost, with a 900 nav speed, you're definitely not escaping any situation quickly. Now you have a pitch yaw roll of 16, 16, 25 with a boosted 19, 19, 30, which is surprisingly a little bit lower than other heavy ships that are much heavier, like the Hammerhead. This ship is outmaneuvered by a ship like the Hammerhead, which you're looking at me and going, what? What do you mean? I mean, but if you look around, this got big thrusters in the back, and that's about it. So maneuverability is not going to be a strong suit because you really just don't have the thruster power anywhere on this ship to help, move this thing around. It is quite the behemoth. Now you also have 250.5 SCU of hydrogen fuel and 8.6 SCU of quantum fuel, with a total amount of countermeasures as 25 flares and 10 decoys, which, if you ask me, again, flares, decoys, any ship out there in the verse, you're flying in space, you're doing things, it should always be a bigger amount, especially more so on a military vessel. But since this isn't a military vessel, the countermeasures only hit it so much. I wish it was double the amount. If you were double that amount, it would be a little bit better because you do have precious cargo that you are going to be delivering with this, and you do not want to risk that cargo. So give me double the amount. You got a 10 out of 10 there, but right now, not so much. Outside of that, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior of this ship, starting with the amount of cargo you can carry, which I'll go ahead and take a look at here in just a second. First, we're going to start at the ramp of this boat. Okay, so we're at the bottom ramp of this ship. There is only one ground entrance for this ship at this time, and that would be the ramp here underneath, right in front of that rear turret. Now, if you look down the row, though, there are plenty of cargo bays that you could potentially get on, but, depending on how flat the ground is, it's a little bit of a jump, and then you just bring yourself up. So technically, you have one ground entrance over there, and then you have another 4 on the left and right side over here, and potentially one on the front, which is honestly fantastic. You can get on wherever you like. So let's go ahead and press our button here and get on into the ship. And just to let you know, this ship can carry 576 SCU of cargo on the cargo grids. Now, once you bring yourself up, this ramp here is almost placed right on top of a crew quarter area. So you have this nice little loading area. And then if you walk right over here, you have a area for your crew to relax. You have a nice table, a nice eating area, a nice bed situation. You got 2 beds over here to the right, which is quite interesting that the beds are deployed right in your kind of living area. Someone's sitting here laughing around, having a good old time with the TV, eating and drinking, but then you have a bed here. It's like not getting much privacy there, right? Now, if we were to go ahead and take a look, there's also a nice toilet right here with a sink that's really hard to use and a shower, which, again, I don't know the design here, but this feels like it's not going to work out too well. Your drain's even covered half. And then when you're sitting here, you're not going to be able to close this door too well. It's going to be very awkward for everybody inside this ship. Now, if you were to go ahead and go through this door right here, this leads you to your cargo pod areas. So you have one to your left and one to your right, of course, which has that elevator system now, which is pretty nice, but loading cargo still isn't that easy, and that's too bad. But a lot of it has to do with that catwalk blocking some of the situation here, and then just the whole elevator. So if you were to see here, it is deployed, but when you undeploy it, it just comes back all the way and closes. You can't bring it up to a medium level, like 2 functions, bringing it up 1 and then closing. It's just straight up open and on the ground or closed, and that's it. And then if you go ahead and make your way down the next doors here, it's repeated. Nice little catwalk up there. You can control all the buttons and everything via these buttons, right? Control all the buttons. Control all the doors via the buttons on the bottom and the top. You have the buttons up there as well. And then continued, another room here just like that. Another room just like this. These rooms are supposed to be modular. You're supposed to be able to detach these sections over time, if you wanted to, and potentially place other rooms in here, which would be really cool. But as of right now, not a current option. So it is just what it is. But it does look pretty awesome, allowing you to carry vehicles like this or vehicles like this. Okay, now that we've taken a look at that fun MTC experiment, which it honestly was a lot of fun, surprisingly, nobody died, and what a great vehicle that thing is. I mean, it flew off a cliff, rolled down it, and just no deaths at all, which is just great. Good job with the MTC. We're back into the crew quarter area here. We're going to go ahead and head into the original spot where you came up originally. You do have a nice weapons rack right here. You can put a bunch of rifles, which is pretty cool. You know, being able to grab a gun before you go out there into the dangerous world that Star Citizen is and loading your cargo. And then you make your way through this door, a nice little engineering room that potentially will have some components someday. And then you go in here, and this is your engine room, allowing you to go ahead and take care of your engines, do any sort of repairs that you need to do. This is the area that you're going to take care of just the heartbeat of the ship. So right now, of course, the components are not accessible, but someday they will be. And then if you go ahead and make your way onto this turret access point here, this is your bottom rear turret. And over here is the door heading to the bridge. So we came from the door across the hallway there, and we make our way over here. So once we climb all the way up here, if you turn to your right, you have an access area to go ahead and take care of any sort of tractor beaming. You go ahead and get on here. Nice little clap of the hands, make sure you're good to go. And then you go to enter remote turret. And as you can see, you have a great view, allowing you to go ahead and grab something, bring it on up and into the ship. But the view isn't as good as you would hope, because getting it on in here is where it could get difficult. So what you would hope to do is grab an item, have someone that's second up here, and then they would grab it from you once you have it hovering here. And that would be about your best option. So, but I mean, otherwise it is cool that it has these areas. This is like an observation room. It just looks really cool. I like the amount of windows. I'm a really big fan of windows in spaceships. Now, if we're to make our way this way really quick, this would be just another area to gain access to a EVA portion, which if you go up there, you can go ahead and EVA out of the ship. And then if you turn around, this is where it would lead to your catwalk. So when you're in here, you have a catwalk that would lead you over all of your cargo bay rooms and allowing you to get really good images and everything of your cargo or the vessels that you're carrying at the time, or potentially retracting your side doors, which I can't seem to do right now. Fantastic. Now, let's go ahead and make our way back through this door really quick, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the next area, which is over here. This is your bridge. So once you make your way through the double door, the bridge is right here where you're going to have the pilot seat, the co-pilot seat, and 2 support stations, as well as if you go down this ladder back here, and we'll take it all the way down. There we go. This right here is a nice little area. Whoop. Don't want to get back on there. But you do have another weapons rack here stored away with a ton of more rifle space. And then if you go over here, you have another bathroom, which is a little bit more accessible than the other one, definitely. And then over here, you do have a nice little kitchen, more beds, which is good. More beds is better. A nice little table and another, area to control a tractor beam. You go ahead and get on here and it controls it, allowing you to do some functions around the ship. Like, let's go ahead and take a look here. Let's see what this nice tractor beam looks like, right? So if we get on in here, it's definitely not a terrible angle, allowing you to grab what you need to grab and potentially putting it on the ship just like such. But again, angle, pretty difficult. So maybe not a best idea without being able to see what you're doing. So let's go ahead and leave that to the crew to take care. My bad. And then you have a door here that one day will be operational. As of right now, it is not. And the reason being is this whole module that I'm in right now is the pilot's area for this ship, but it can someday detach completely. And that's why you have beds and a whole eating and living area. But it will be able to detach completely someday. And, you could reattach it to another Caterpillar body or potentially your Ironclad in the future. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Now, let's go ahead and make our way back down this area really quick. And as you can see right over here is you're going to have more components. So you'd have a bunch of components, server room, engineering room, all sorts of fun little activities to do in here, including your power station, which is really nice. This is where you're going to have your, you can't really get to it. It's more like a museum piece, but you're going to have the ability to repair your ship right here with a lot of your power components and any other component they want to put in here. This ladder goes down to your engine room down there. So again, no components passed. It's really hard to kind of show you where the components will be housed, because once they go through this, they're going to rework a lot of these walls and just add different areas, and it's going to be quite interesting to see. So can't wait for that. Now, if we make our way back through this door here, instead of going through that room over there, we'll go ahead and show you where the last turret location is, which if you go ahead and go down this way here, then we're going to be done with the interior review of this ship. It's honestly quite a fantastic ship if you're asking me. It has a lot going for it, especially if you're looking to haul some cargo, but you know, in the end, it's definitely not terrible. It could be worse. I feel like I prefer this over certain ships. Right here is your last turret access point. You get in here, you go up, and it's a fantastic time. And you have a little bit more of a view here as well with your vehicle and someone's in there on the edge. We'll go ahead and hop into this turret really quick just to show you what that looks like. And then I'll show you a view from the pilot seat. And that'll be the end of the interior. This turret, though, size 4 guns, some struts in the way, not terrible. You have a great viewpoint around your ship, allowing you to go ahead and hopefully take care of any combat targets that come for you. But it all depends on how good they are and, you know, how much of an angle you get, right? That is the end of the interior. Let's go ahead and take a look at that pilot seat really quick, and then I'll give you my score. And right here is a view of the pilot seat. It's pretty strutty, very Drake, very RSI, but it is a fantastic ship to fly. I've had a ton of fun flying this thing, and I've been flying it for a very long time. I flew it into Levski a few times, and it was a lot of fun. And this ship just continues to get better and better. It's not at its point yet of where it's supposed to be. You know, those elevators should work 100% someday soon, where you can have them at certain levels, as well as the modularity of the whole cargo panel, you know, cargo area here, as well as just being able to detach your command module from this ship as either an escape pod or just attaching it to different cargo module areas. I cannot wait to see this thing in its full form with its components and everything. It's going to be a fantastic time. This ship for me is an 80 out of 100, which is honestly a pretty good score for it being a heavy freight ship with some decent firepower to it, protecting itself. The biggest drawbacks is its speed, maneuverability, and its countermeasures. But, you know, some people would argue that it's not a combat ship. Why would it have a lot of countermeasures? But in this day and age, you know, you never know what you're going to run into. More countermeasures, the better. So let me know what you think of the Drake Caterpillar down below in the comments. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. You all are truly amazing. I really appreciate every single one of you. And I'll see you all in the next one.